Oh boy. It seems like Dustin Gaethje doesn't treat the BMF title the same way that Dustin Porier does. And Dustin Gaethje even called it, quote unquote, stupid. He called the BMF title stupid. And it seems to me like there's a massive difference between how Dustin Gaethje looks at a BMF title and how Dustin Poirier looks at a BMF title. It is very different how they look at it. Dustin Gaethje thinks it's stupid. Dustin Poirier thinks it's not. And they're very big differences how they look at it and how they treat it and how much it means to them. And this to me feels like Dustin Poirier's title fight. This seems like this is Dustin Poirier's title fight because he wants this BMF title more than ever. And the way that Dustin looks at it, he puts it in very high regard. Meanwhile, Dustin Gaethje doesn't. The way that Dustin Gaethje looks at it, he thinks it's stupid. And he had things to say about the BMF title as well, and how he looks at it and how he treats it. And he said that he's 34 and he plans on beating Dustin Poirier, becoming BMF champion, then fighting for an undisputed title, then defending it a couple of times, and then leaving the sport, retiring. That is what he said. And he even mentioned his age. And that really does matter. That really does matter when a guy talks about his age. Because when a guy starts talking about his age and what he plans to do the rest of his career, that's a couple of steps closer to talking about retirement. And a couple of steps more closer to retiring. Because when a guy starts talking about his age and what he plans to do with his career, he's laying out a plan on how he's going to play out his career and what he plans to do before he retires. That is what he means when he mentions his age. He's talking about the time that he still has left in this sport. And that there's not much. There's not much time for him to do all these things, to be this guy and have this record and do this and do that and be this guy and get this record. And it seems to me like Dustin Gaethje treats the BMF title as simply a way to get to an undisputed title. It seems to me like he's using it as a golden ticket to get an undisputed title. And he said that after he becomes a BMF champion, he's going to fight for an undisputed title and then win that title and defend it a couple of times. And he's using the BMF title basically as an interim title to get a title shot. And this is the same thing that Jorge did. Jorge simply used a BMF title to try to put himself in the title picture. That is why the BMF title never got defended. because Jorge Masvidal didn't want to. The moment that he got the BMF title, he thought in his head that he was the #1 contender. He looked at himself as a guy that could fight for a belt. I mean, he beat Darren Till, one of the biggest prospects at the time at welterweight. Knocked him out clean. Beat Ben Askren in 5 seconds, the fastest KO in history. Set records. Or record, without an S. And then he fights Nate Diaz. He felt like he deserves a title shot. That is why it never got defended. Because he didn't want to defend it. He didn't want to defend the BMF title. He tried to get a title shot. And this is the same route, the same path that Justin Gaethje is trying to walk. It is the same route that he's trying to take. It is the same path that he's trying to walk. He wants to get an undisputed title by getting a BMF title. He's going to use that BMF title to get an undisputed title. And you have to understand that he's now put an undisputed title at #1 of his priorities. Because when you're a fighter, you have to have priorities. Justin Gaethje got tired of being the exciting guy that every time he fights it's going to be war, that he's gonna get brain damage and he's gonna give you brain damage, and he's gonna be this wild, unpredictable guy that's getting all the bonuses and getting all the money. He got tired of that. He understood that he doesn't really have a lot of time to accomplish his original goal, which is to become an undisputed champion. That is his original goal. He didn't go into the UFC to become a BMF champion. He went into the UFC to become an undisputed champion. And now he understands that he doesn't really have a lot of time. He wants to get an undisputed title, defend it a couple of times, and then retire right after the sunset. He doesn't want to be doing this fighting thing for a long time. It is taxing. It takes a lot. It is a very taxing sport. Fighting is one of the hardest sport in the world. In fact, it is the hardest sport in the world. And it takes a lot to keep on doing this, and Justin Gaethje understands that he doesn't have a lot of time to keep on doing this. He's going to break his body, he's going to break his mind if he just keeps on fighting. Now he understands that there's a ticking time bomb. And in stories you would always find that. You would always find a ticking time bomb. Or watching a heist movie, you know that there's a time bomb, that the cops will eventually come, or that a kid would die if he doesn't get a heart transplant. There's always a ticking time bomb in most stories. A character is trying to do something and there's a ticking time bomb. There's not much time left, and Justin Gaethje feels like there's not much time left. That is what he means by mentioning his age. He's saying that he doesn't really have a lot of time left doing this, fighting and competing, and it is taxing on any man's body. It is taxing. It takes a lot to keep on doing this. And Justin Gaethje understands that. He understands that he doesn't really have a lot of time, and it is now or never. If he doesn't get an opportunity to become a world champion, he will never become a world champion. He will never get what he wants. He will never become a champion. This is his final run for the title. He understands how much this means to him. He understands how much an undisputed title means to him. Because now he understands that there's not a lot of time left. Now he is pressured to get it. Now he is pressured to finish it and get it done. And it is basic human nature. When you have a deadline, you want to finish a project or a homework now more than ever because of time, because there's a deadline. And for Dustin Gaethje, there is a deadline. He's growing older. He doesn't want to keep on doing this. Now he wants an undisputed title more than ever because there's a deadline. He got tired of being the exciting guy. Now he understands that he cannot be goofing around. He understands that he just needs to win. He understands that the time that he has left to become a world champion isn't a lot. And now he wants it more than ever.